Good evening and welcome to this midweek special of Premier League action. I'm Tom Parry-Jones. I'll be your host this evening as I take you through the 5 fixtures that we have in this round of the Premier League. Later on, we have Liverpool playing host to Crystal Palace, where, when they played Crystal Palace 6 years ago, their title challenge came a cropper. Of course, not much chance of that happening this season, holding about a 30-point lead over their nearest rivals, Man City. But it's the 4 matches that are kicking off at 6 o'clock that we'll be paying the most attention to. Newcastle United playing host to Aston Villa, Norwich City at home to Everton, Wolverhampton Wanderers at home to Bournemouth, but we will start with Manchester United at home to Sheffield United, where Rhys Davis is at Old Trafford. Rhys, what's the team news?
Hi Tom, and welcome to Old Trafford. It is absolutely boiling here today at 6 o'clock. A few minutes away from kickoff. So, United come into this game unbeaten in 12 across all competitions, winning 8, drawing 4. They've netted 30 goals and just conceded 3 in that run. Their best run, coincidentally, since January 2017, which was a streak of 17 games. United will be looking to new signing Bruno Fernandes to help extend that run. He starts alongside Pogba in the midfield today. Since Bruno's debut for the club in February, no United player has scored more goals, made more assists, had more shots on target, or created more chances than the Portuguese star. So facing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side tonight is a Sheffield United team who conceded 3 second-half goals with 10 men versus Newcastle last week. Prior to that, they had conceded just 4 goals in their previous 8 games, winning 4, drawing 3. Jagielka comes into the side, replacing Egan, who is suspended following that red card. Sheffield United haven't beaten Man United since they knocked them out of the FA Cup in 1993. They have only played them 8 times since then, however, only managing a single point in those 8 fixtures. As far as the league table is concerned, Man United find themselves in 5th place at the moment, 2 points ahead of Sheffield United, but crucially 6 points behind Chelsea for that 4th Champions League spot. We don't know yet if 5th will get one, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will definitely be hoping the blue half of Manchester can do him a favour when they travel to Stamford Bridge tomorrow for that game. Minutes away from kickoff here, Tom. Should be a good one. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Rhys. So, plenty of UEFA competition consequences riding on that match. Sheffield United, of course, winless since football returned. They only dropped 2 points in their last 4 matches before lockdown. We'll go now to Nicky Taliesin, who is at Molineux watching Wolverhampton Wanderers against Bournemouth. Nicky, what's the latest there?
Good evening, Tom. So, it's looking like an interesting game tonight. I think it's obviously looking nearer to being a Wolves win based on current form, but Wolves are unbeaten in all 3 of their Premier League meetings with Bournemouth, winning 2 and drawing 1. Bournemouth are looking for their first league victory over Wolves since winning 2-1 in March 2015 in the Championship. So things aren't looking too good for Bournemouth. 6th place Wolverhampton Wanderers are unbeaten in their last 6 matches, and they won 2-0 at West Ham United in their most recent fixture, whereas Bournemouth, who sit 18th, lost 2-0 to Crystal Palace last time out and are targeting their first win in 6 matches. I think the main team news is that the star substitute and many people's man of the match from the last Wolves game, Adam Traore, as it will be starting. A little cameo for you there. So Traore will be starting tonight, and he'll be starting alongside Jimenez and Jota as well. So it's a very attacking side for Wolves. So they're obviously looking at trying to get some goals in and hopefully catch up on the Champions League places. Bournemouth were looking at a last-minute decision on Joshua King, but it's looking like he hasn't made it through to that team then, with Callum Wilson starting up front instead. So it's looking like an interesting game, but I can't see anything but a Wolves win here.
Thank you very much, Nicky. Yeah, Raul Jimenez, a very important player for Wolverhampton Wanderers. He's scored 3 in his last 4 Premier League appearances and also netted in their game against West Ham on Saturday. We'll move along now to games with more consequences at the bottom of the table. We'll go to Neil Parker, who's watching Newcastle United against Aston Villa at St James's Park. Neil.
Thanks very much, Tom. Welcome to sunny Newcastle, where Newcastle have only lost 1 of their last 11 Premier League meetings against Villa. But that one that they have lost was the reverse fixture earlier on in the season. Villa, who are looking to complete a double on Newcastle for the first time since 2004-2005 season. Newcastle, fresh from their 3-0 win against Sheffield United, remain unchanged, which means the mighty Joe Linton, who scored his first goal in 2,130 minutes, starts up top. Newcastle, very mid-table. They're 11 points above the relegation. They're not in any trouble. They're 2 points from the top half. Villa, however, playing in 19th position and 1 point away from safety with a worse goal difference, come off a 2-1 loss against Chelsea. They've made 2 changes. Mahmoud Trezeguet and Mbwana Samata are replacing Conor Hourihane and Keenan Davis. Jack Grealish obviously starts, and he hopes that Dean Smith's plea to the referees to protect him come to pass, as Jack Grealish has been fouled 140 times, which is the most since Premier League stats began. Thank you very much. Back to you, Tom.
Thank you very much, Neil. Yeah, Aston Villa really looking to get out of the Premier League relegation zone. As Neil said, just 1 point away from safety, but they are winless in their last 7 matches in all competitions. Just 1 point, the point they picked up in the first match since the Premier League returned on the 17th of June. So the final fixture of this early window of fixtures is Norwich City at home to Everton, where Ben Feynman is at Carrow Road watching that game for us. Ben.
Afternoon, Tom. Norwich seem all but down, and therefore they've made 4 changes today. Alexander Tettey has come back in to captain the side in place of Tom Tribal. The other 3 changes are all up top, with Campwell and Buendia both missing out for Unai Hernandez and Lucas Rupp. And hitman Timu Puki hasn't scored with his last 28 shots, has been replaced by Andre Duda. So Josip Dermic will continue to lead the line. Against them comes a good Everton side, with Ancelotti making an instant impact. They've made 1 change since the 0-0 draw with Liverpool, with Bernard, the diminutive Brazilian, coming in for local lad Anthony Gordon. They haven't kept a clean sheet away in the league since the opening day of the campaign, so they'll be looking to make it 2 today. Looking forward to an exciting end-to-end game, Tom.
Yes, thank you very much, Ben. So all 4 matches, we believe, now have kicked off. So plenty to play for at the top of the Premier League table. Lots of consequences in terms of Champions League qualification for next season. As Rees mentioned in his report at the start of the game, Manchester United looking to close the gap on Chelsea, who play Manchester City in a couple of days. But 5th place may well be enough for Manchester United. At the moment, it's looking like just a Europa League spot. But if Manchester City's appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sport is unsuccessful, it will see Manchester United, as things stand, qualify for the Champions League next season in 5th place. Not a particularly desirable finish for them. It would be their lowest Premier League finish for some time. But yes, so all 4 games have kicked off. So we will go now to get a quick early update from Rees Davis, who is watching Manchester United v Sheffield United for us. Rees. Thank you very much, Rees. Yeah, Manchester United really going to need to get on the score sheet early to stake their claim to a win in this match. Dean Henderson, the on loan Manchester United goalkeeper, he's on loan to Sheffield United, not eligible for today's match. So starting in his place for the Blades is Moore, their usual backup goalkeeper. Let's go now to back to Molineux and see what the early action has held there in the game between Wolves and Bournemouth. Nicky Taliesin.
Tom, there's a little moment just happened just now. Nathan Aki was going up for a header in Wolves' box, and Patricio just came out to punch the ball clear, and Aki's got caught in the back of the head with a double elbow. He was down for a little bit. He's up and walking now, still holding his head. I'm surprised they haven't taken him off, to be honest with you. With everything with concussions at the moment, this doesn't seem very sensible. He took a really bad hit to the back of the head, and he was down for a while, but he is back on his feet now, so hopefully he's going to be okay.
Thank you very much, Nicky. So, that game also quite important for not just the top of the table, where Wolves also going for that Champions League spot if Manchester United slip up and City ultimately fail in their appeal. But Europa League football, they're still, of course, in this season's Europa League, but next season's Europa League will be a target for Wolves in their current position of 6th place. Let's check in at St. James's Park with Neil Parker and see what the latest is there between Newcastle and Aston Villa. Neil.
Thanks very much, Tom. A bit of a quiet start, although it turns out that Dean Smith's pleas for protection of Jack Grealish have gone completely unnoticed, as he was fouled within the first 2 minutes. So he's now been fouled 141 times in the Premier League. Newcastle with an early attack. Matt Ritchie looked to spread the play across the field, tried to set Son Maxima free, but the pass wasn't very, very good. As I said, very quiet start, still 0-0. Thanks, Tom.
I'm going to be hoping for a running total of every foul on Jack Grealish throughout this game based on the early proceedings. And just to round out coverage of all 4 matches for you, we should have an early report from Carrow Road, where Ben Feynman's watching Norwich v Everton. Ben.
Yeah, no chance to speak of yet, Tom. The game seems really open. Both sides playing at a really high tempo, actually, which has been quite unusual since the restart. Everton have looked slightly more dangerous, but Norwich do have some pace on the break, with Onel Hernandez in particular, who's looked to drive into the box on a couple of occasions already. Nothing else to report at the moment, Tom. No shots as of now.
Thank you very much, Ben. So not much to report in any of the games so far. Still 0-0 around the grounds. But things developing at Old Trafford, I believe. Rhys Davis, what's the latest there? So Manchester United taking the 1-goal advantage early in this match, only the 7th minute. So Anthony Martial adding to his tally for the season. That is his, let's count those goals. Well, however many it is, Anthony Martial putting Manchester United 1-0 up and giving them the advantage in the chase for Champions League football next season. Let's go back to Molineux. Check in with Nicky Taliesin, watching the game between Wolves and Bournemouth. Nicky.
Hi, Tom. So it's nothing much changed here. Wolves and Bournemouth just back and forth. Really, there's no same again. There's no final product yet. They both team up for the game, but a little bit off the pace. Bournemouth just had a cross in that just again didn't reach someone in the middle. Patricia's just clearing it. It's a bit of a bitty game at the moment, and we'll see how we go from there.
Thank you very much, Nicky. Yeah, both sides probably playing a little bit cagey there, not wanting to give an inch in their chases for their respective goals. Wolves looking for European football. Bournemouth wanting to stay clear of that relegation zone. So as I was saying before, Anthony Martial now up to 12 goals for the Premier League season. He scored 4 in his last 6 in the league, including 1 against Chelsea and against Manchester City before lockdown kicked in. He's, of course, now, well, he's still Manchester United's second top scorer for the season, only 2 behind Marcus Rashford, who starts alongside him in attack today. Let's go now to, let's go back to St. James's Park, where Neil Parker is watching Newcastle v Villa. Neil.
Thanks, Tom. Aston Villa having most of the ball at the minute. They just had an early corner, which was poor, didn't even clear the first man. But Mahmoud Trezeguet was completely unmarked, and a cross came over, and he just really poor effort. Hit it over the bar. Dubravka didn't even need to make a save. Still 0-0. Villa looking good at the minute. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you very much, Neil. So Aston Villa, yeah, they are desperate for points. Haven't picked up a single point in their last 6. Well, they picked up 1 point in their last 7 league games, I believe. But every single one absolutely vital for them in their chase to remain in the Premier League for next season. Only a single point between them and safety at the moment, with that game in hand on West Ham United. Victory for Villa today could see them rise above West Ham. Let's take a look around the grounds again. Let's go back to Carrow Road, where Ben Feynman's watching Norwich v Everton. Ben.
Yeah, we've had the first half chance at the half-time, and it's gone to Everton. Lucas Digne getting in behind Max Irons at right back, who's then whipped the ball across to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and he couldn't quite get his header over the ball, and it's looped into Tim Krul's hands. Good signs for Everton, and they've looked to get forward through both wing-backs so far. A long pass there from one of the centre-backs, just a little bit too long for Seamus Coleman to latch onto. Certainly seems a plan to try and get behind these two attacking fullbacks in Norwich themselves.
Thank you very much, Ben. So yes, Everton coming off the back of a 0-0 draw in the Merseyside derby. Still 0-0 between them and Norwich at the moment. Norwich without Teemu Pukki, who has been pretty important for them this season. They've scored just 25 goals, the worst attacking record in the Premier League, which has, of course, left them on just 21 points and pretty far from safety. Even with 8 matches to go, one would say probably that 6-point difference between them and West Ham in 17th is probably insurmountable, particularly given their run-in. Let's check in again now with Rhys Davis, who's watching Man United v Sheffield United. He's at Old Trafford. Rhys.
Thanks, Tom. I do believe we've had a bit of audio problems here in Manchester. I do apologise for that. I'll summarise what I said in the first few. The United lineup is looking a lot quicker today. Got Matic in the back for Fred. Pogba coming in for McTominay to lighten up that midfield with Bruno. And we've got a chance here for United. It's not gone in. I'll come back to that in a sec. And Danny James has been swapped out for Greenwood. The goal scored by Martial. Fantastic move from Rashford down the right. Great ball in. Finished with aplomb by Martial. This most recent chance, once again, is Rashford to Martial, who's one-on-one with the keeper. Probably should shoot there. But he's looked up. He's seen Rashford to his right. Passed it to Rashford. Actually, Rashford should get it away with his left foot. Scuffs the shot. Goes wide. Should be 2-0. Still 1-0 to Man United.
Thank you very much, Rhys. So that's still just the 1 goal in the Premier League matches so far. Just the 4 games in the early kickoffs today. Manchester United at home to Sheffield United. It's 1-0 there, and it's 0-0 in the other 3 between Newcastle and Aston Villa, Norwich City against Everton, and the game between Wolverhampton Wanderers and AFC Bournemouth. Just a little stat for you. 9 out of the 14 Premier League games played so far since football returned have been 0-0 at half-time. So it's quite possible that we may not see any goals in those other 3 games if the track record is anything to go by. But even though 9 of the 14 have been 0-0 at half-time, only 5 have finished as draws, 5 home wins and 4 away wins, the record in those other matches. Let's go back to St James's Park, where Neil Parker is watching Newcastle v Aston Villa. Neil.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Still mostly Aston Villa. We just had a bit of a stoppage because Lascelles got a bit of a... He caught Mahmoud Trezeguet after they both went for a header. He caught him in the face. So we had a bit of a stoppage there. And also, we just went very close with a headed chance, which actually just missed El Ghazi. El Ghazi took the cross. Sorry, El Ghazi took the cross and Samata just missed. But it's still all Aston Villa, Tom. Still 0-0 though.
Thank you very much. I think the heat must be taking a little bit of an effect on not just the players, but our reporters today, losing a little bit of focus around the grounds and even here in the studio, where it's absolutely roasting. So, as I was saying, the 4 games in effect at the moment. Man United v Sheffield United, the only one with a goal so far. Liverpool will play Crystal Palace later this evening. Crystal Palace, the team that put a spanner in the works of Liverpool's title challenge back in 2014, coming back from 3 goals down in the penultimate game of the season to effectively hand Manchester City the league title. So games tomorrow, we have Burnley versus Watford. That's at 6 o'clock, as is Southampton versus Arsenal. But Chelsea v Manchester City is the big one at 8:15 tomorrow evening. And then on Saturday, we have a West Midlands derby between Aston Villa and Wolverhampton Wanderers. Both of those teams in action right now and still 0-0 in each of them. As I said, Manchester United's game against Sheffield United, the only one with the goal so far. That coming from Anthony Martial, his 12th goal of the season. Marcus Rashford, the only Manchester United player with more goals than the French winger come striker so far this season. Let's go back to Molineux and see what's the latest between Wolves and Bournemouth. Nicky Taliesin.
Much of the same, Tom, at the moment. Wolves do have a lot more possession. They're well over 60% possession, but it feels like Bournemouth are making a little bit more of the possession. They're a bit more dogged with it. It's like they don't want the ball, really. It suits them a little bit better. It's a pretty even game all round. Wolves getting lots of touches, as you'd expect from them, but Bournemouth are getting stuck in and just trying to get the ball as quickly up to the top as they possibly can. So it's a mixed bag, but not causing any great chances so far.
Thank you very much, Nicky. So Bournemouth winless in their last 5 Premier League matches, picking up just 1 point in that time. But they have conceded in each of their last 13 league matches. They haven't kept a clean sheet in that entire time. Conceded 25 league goals in those 13 matches. That's the longest current run without a clean sheet in the Premier League. And they also failed to score in their game against Crystal Palace on the weekend, which was the first ever Premier League game to be shown on terrestrial TV, and the BBC having that one in broadcast. Let's go back to Carrow Road and see what the latest is between Norwich and Everton. Ben Feynman.
Yeah, and the second game on BBC, Tom, here. We've actually seen the first Cuban player in the Premier League, Erling Hernandez, when he was introduced earlier in last season. He's actually just cut in from the left-hand side and had a good shot that was deflected just past Sean Pickford's post, which saw him scramble away. The resulting corner didn't really lead to much, but Norwich certainly playing some nice possession of football at the moment and edging their way back into this game. Making him for a really good, tight test at the moment, but there's not a lot else to report.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Norwich always going to struggle in a game without their main striker, Teemu Pukki, who's been the main attacking threat for them this season. They, as I said before, the worst attacking record in the Premier League. Let's go back to Old Trafford, where Rhys Davis is watching Man United v Sheffield United, where I believe Manchester United are having a little bit of a spell of pressure, Rhys.
Yeah, United well on top here. We've just had a free kick for Bruno Fernandes. George Baldock of Sheffield United brought down Luke Shaw on the left wing. It felt like Bruno was going to whip it into the back post, but he actually went for goal, and it was a good save. But the resulting corner ended with nothing. United loads of pressure here. Just had a chip in from Hernandez to Rashford in the 12-yard box. Once again, he's fluffed his lines, and it does look like a second goal is coming. But we need some more finishing from Rashford if that is to be the case. Still 1-0, but United pressing, looking for that second goal, and it doesn't feel like it's too far away. 1-0.
Thank you very much, Rhys. Yeah, very easy to fall into the trap of referring to Manchester United as just United, but they are, of course, one of two Uniteds playing in that game. Sheffield, the other one, but they're yet to score. So from context, I think you could gather that Manchester United be the ones looking for that second goal. So almost 20 minutes gone in each of our matches. Well, Manchester United's game against Sheffield United just over the 20-minute mark, and just the one goal in it from Anthony Martial, the only one to score so far this season. This evening, Anthony Martial, his second goal in 2 home games for Manchester United, their first game back at Old Trafford since beating Manchester City 2-0 back in March. Let's go back to Molineux. Let's check in with Nicky Taliesin, who's watching Wolves v Bournemouth. Nicky.
Much of the same again, Tom. There's lots of energy coming from both teams, but it's not much going on right now. It's a throw into Bournemouth at the moment up top. It's a strange one because I'm looking at the stats. You'd think the Wolves would have been playing better. I'd say Bournemouth have got slightly the better of Wolves so far, even though they've got less possession. But as I said, they're just trying to get it up top as quickly as possible. Wolves haven't seen much of the Bournemouth goal area. But then again, Bournemouth, although they're up in Wolves' half of the pitch, they're not really getting into the football, into the goal area much either. It's a free kick at the moment. I think Billings just going into the box. So Bournemouth hopefully going to make the most of this. That was a poor cross in the end. And nothing from Brooks there. It's lots of set pieces seem to be happening since we're coming back. They just did a very strange free kick where one player literally just placed the ball down for Brooks just as he was running towards kicking it. I've never seen that done with a free kick before, but it didn't work, so maybe we won't see it again either.
Thank you very much, Nicky. Bournemouth will really be relying on top scorer Callum Wilson, but he's only managed 2 goals in his last 7 games for the Cherries. So not sure what's going to result from that. Bournemouth struggling down the bottom of the table. Wolves really gunning for that Champions League place, hoping to take advantage of any slip-ups by Manchester United, who are in action against Sheffield United. The only goal of the day so far coming for Manchester United, thanks to Anthony Martial. I believe they may have just had a second. Rhys Davis. People struggling to hear me as well there. Apparently people struggling to hear Rhys Davis on the stream. But just to reiterate what he said, Harry Maguire had the ball back in the back of the net, but the goal was ruled out for a push by referee Anthony Taylor. So still just the one goal there. Midway through the first half in each of these games, I wonder if we can take an ad break.
Do you want to hear about Jack Grealish's foul, Tom?
Let's go. Yeah, let's go back to Newcastle's game against Aston Villa and hear about what the latest is from Neil Parker. Neil.
Yeah, United are really taking it to Jack Grealish at the minute, giving him a bit of a kick in. We're on now foul number 142 for the season for Jack Grealish. This one, a foul by the thug-looking John Joe Shelby, because he does look a bit mean, doesn't he? We've just had an Al Ghazi shot as well for Aston Villa. To be honest, Newcastle was starting to come back in. They were even using the 12th man in the form of referee Chris Kavanagh, who decided to get in the way of a vital pass from Alan Saint-Maximin. So Newcastle coming back into it, but it's still quite cagey, and we're on our mid-drink break. So cheers. Back to you, Tom.
Dilly indeed. Thank you, Neil. So still just the one goal in the 4 games we've got here, just over 25 minutes gone in each of them. So 1-0 to Manchester United over Sheffield United, and then Wolves, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Villa, and Norwich v Everton, all 0-0. Although let's, before we go to an ad break, let's take a quick update from Nikki Taliesin, who's watching Wolves v Bournemouth. Can we go to Nikki now? Nikki, what's the latest?
Much of the same, really. It's not been a great game. I was expecting Wolves to be a lot better than this. Bournemouth seem to be just stifling them. Haven't seen Jimenez at all. Basically, Jota's had a couple of attempts at running at people, but it just ended up where either he's fouling them or they're fouling him. It's a messy game at the moment. But it is a very hot day, a very, very hot day. When they took the drinks break, you could see that they really needed it. So I think that might be affecting the game a little bit. I wouldn't be shocked to see, as the game goes on and the substitutes start coming on, a little bit more space and a little bit more creativity happening. But at the moment, it's a very much a dogged stalemate.
I'm starting to think you've been paid to say much of the same. And just before we go to the break, let's get one more update from Ben Feynman, who's watching Norwich v Everton. Ben.
Yeah, pretty dry here, Tom. The weather certainly looks to slow those players down after the early start. Timu Puki looking disconsolate at the back of the stand, just waiting for his chance, I think, in the second half. No more chance to speak of. Been a bit of a gritty game, to be honest, since he last come to me. We can only hope this improves for all of us, to be honest.
Thank you very much, Ben. So yes, much of the same there as well. We will just go to a quick advert break, and when we come back, we'll give you the latest from all 4 games.
The radio just died. Are we going out then?
Don't push it, Dan.
Come on. It'll be fun.
Go out there in the freezing wastes. Must be mad. We're not going, are we?
We have to go out. It's my birthday. It is his birthday.
It is his birthday. Well, why didn't you say so? Of course we're going out. Is it smart?
Smart casual, probably. That's the spirit, boys.
Let's give Dan the best birthday he'll ever remember. Come on then, guys, let's go.
Let's brighten it up.
So, still just the one goal around the grounds in this evening's Premier League action. Manchester United leading 1-0 at home to Sheffield United. Very important result for them, looking to open up a lead over the chasing pack when it comes to the final Champions League place, potentially a Champions League place anyway, pending Manchester City's appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sport over their ban from UEFA football next season. The other game that has implications for European action next season is Wolves v Bournemouth, where I believe we've just had our first yellow card of the day. Nikki?
I definitely had a cameo, Tom. I did not see a yellow card. I was checking the stats, and I did not. I don't know which double check here, but
I think it was Romain Saiss, I believe, who got the yellow card for a foul. No. Thanks very much, Nikki.
As I said, I was looking at the stats, turned away, completely missed the yellow card. Was it a bad challenge? I can't tell you.
It doesn't even say. Sent one of the opposing players to the ground.
Well, if replay comes back on, I'll give you a shout. But it can't have been that bad because, as I say, it hasn't been replayed and it barely turned away. So I suppose there was a yellow card apparently in my game. So I hope the other games are more interesting than this.
Yeah, I think we all do. The viewers at home will be really hoping for something a little more interesting than 1 goal and 1 yellow card today. As I said before, 9 of the 14 games so far in the restarted Premier League season have been 0-0 at half-time. But 9 of them have indeed gone, have produced a win. So that does mean that a few goals have gone in the second half of games, just not in the first half, and not really in the first half of any games here. Just that one for Anthony Martial, his 12th of the season for Manchester United, at home to Sheffield United. Let's check in at St. James's Park again, where Neil Parker is watching Newcastle versus Aston Villa. Neil.
Thanks, Tom. To sum up this game, Newcastle have had 0 shots on target, with 0 shots off target. Villa have had 7 shots off target, 1 of them on target, and Target has just shot wide. So I mean, we're all kinds of craziness here. Thanks, Tom.
Amazing, thank you very much. Not really much to report on from any of these games so far. Really struggling to find the pace after the extended break from football. Some teams managing to really bang them in, but just the 1 goal in our 4 games so far. Goodness me, how we were wishing for a Manchester City v Burnley today. Let's go back to Old Trafford then, where the action mostly seems to have been, and check in with Rhys Davis, who's watching Manchester United v Sheffield United.
Thanks, Tom. Sound is back now. I have fired the sound crew. I'm going to do it myself from now on. Still 1-0. United have got 2/3 of possession. 6 shots they've had at goal, 2 on target. Lundstrom's just had a shot the other side of the pitch. That is to say, a shot off target, but still 1-0 and still United in control. Sheffield United got back into the game since you came to me last, but still not pressurising the United goal like they should be. Bruno's passed it around very nicely, integrating with Pogba. It's quite promising from a United perspective, but it has slowed down in the last 10 minutes. It's still 1-0, and it's back to you, Tom.
Thank you very much, Rhys. Yeah, very promising from a Manchester United perspective. They are unbeaten in their last 6 league games against Sheffield United. The last time they lost to the Blades was the opening day of the Premier League, not just the Premier League season, the Premier League back in August 1992, when Brian Deane scored the first ever Premier League goal after just 5 minutes of that encounter. Finished 2-1 to Sheffield United, Deane scoring again, and then Mark Hughes getting a consolation goal for Manchester United that day. Let's have a look around the grounds again and go back to... Let's go back to Carrow Road and check in with Ben Feynman, who surely must have something to update us with.
Not a lot from the football, Tom, but I tell you what, I have seen an advert on BBC. The the time clock is actually still sponsored by Tag Heuer on the terrestrial channel, which surprises us all. We're all still paying our TV licenses. I should distract from that to take there's an chance for Everton here. Iwobi's whipped it in to back post for Luca Dean. It's been scrambled away by the centre-back. So, yeah, not a lot to report on there football-wise, Tom. I'm actually getting updates in my ear from the La Liga 2 games that have just kicked off to see if anything more interesting is going off in sunny Spain.
Marvellous. So, yeah, there was a little La Liga versus Premier League battle prior to this game, or this set of games, in a little mini FIFA tournament with Antoine Griezmann taking on Scott McTominay, Barcelona versus Manchester United. Antoine Griezmann, something of a gamer, I believe, a big fan of Football Manager, and that series of games going back when it was Championship Manager. Let's check in now. Let's go back to Wolves v Bournemouth at Molineux, where Nicky Taliesin, I think we've just had another yellow card, have we?
Yes, Tom, we did have another yellow card there. It all came from Traore. Traore picked the ball up in his own half, and he just started deciding he wanted to play FIFA himself. So he was running around plays. He got past about 6 or 7 players heading towards the box, and then David Brooks literally was like, "I'm not having any more of this." Clipped his ankle, took him down, and a very well-deserved, but also probably clever yellow card because Traore was going through the whole team. Traore looked annoyed, and then Neves took the free kick, and it was to nothing. So it was a well-spent yellow card, shall we say. Oh, that was close to the edge of the area there. Won't be surprised if this is another yellow card for Cook. Another yellow card for Cook. So it's looking like a game of yellow cards now, much of the same. And Cook just brought down Jota, who's trying to get into the box. So it's now a free kick just on the edge of the area near the corner flag.
Thank you very much, Nicky. So still 0-0 in that game between Wolverhampton Wanderers and AFC Bournemouth. Just the 1 goal still in the 4 games so far. That one coming at Manchester United. Anthony Martial, his 12th goal of the season. And there's not much to talk about when that's the 3rd time I've said he scored 12 times this season. Let's go back to Old Trafford and check in with Rhys Davis, where I think there's been a little bit of an injury scare for one of the teams. Rhys.
Yeah, it's Bruno who's being forced to leave the pitch. Fantasy managers everywhere holding their breath, including myself. I think I have him as captain this week. It's not good news for me. He's getting some medical treatment on the side of the pitch. United carrying on without him at the moment. It didn't look all that serious, to be honest. He did walk off, and he looks like he's coming back on now. Yeah, he's back on. Moving okay after that injury scare. We'll see how that plays out. Sheffield United attacking on the left here. It's gone to Lundstrom, and it's a corner to Sheffield United, who have come back into the game quite a lot since we last spoke. That is their 2nd corner of the game. But possession-wise, they've got it down to 55-45 now, from being 2/3 to 1/3 down. They've done a lot of work in this second portion of the second half, post-drink break, and the corner's about to be whipped in. So stay with me 1 second. Whipped in, far too long, left by all the defenders, and it's out for a goal kick. Still 1-0.
Yeah, that corner there from Oliver Norwood, the former Manchester United man, not finding any of his teammates in the Manchester United area. So still 1-0 there, still 0-0 in all 3 of our other games. A really nice amuse-bouche ahead of Liverpool's game at home to Crystal Palace this evening. Liverpool hoping to seal the Premier League title very soon. They are 20 points ahead of Manchester City, who are in 2nd place. But so that would leave, with victory for Liverpool tonight, that would put them 23 points ahead with 8 games to play for Manchester City. So not quite enough for Liverpool to seal the title. Had they beaten Everton on the weekend, it would have been enough. But not just yet. Liverpool, of course, would have really liked to seal the Premier League title against their City rivals the other day, but not to be. Yep, still just the one goal around the grounds here, but I believe Newcastle United threatening after early sustained pressure from Aston Villa. Let's go back to Neil Parker, who's watching Newcastle v Villa at St James's Park.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, we've had a couple of chances for Newcastle, both sort of. One of them being by Alan Saint-Maximin, who cut in from the right-hand side, showing his electric pace. He whipped the ball across the 6-yard box. No Newcastle front man was able to get a foot on it. And then Joe Linton made a nice run into the box, and it was a last-ditch tackle by Tyrone Mings, who is showing why he's a bit of a hot property in the Premier League. Newcastle decided to try and play it from the back at the minute, and then it gets blocked. Goes out for a Newcastle throw-in, but they're dicing with death here. It's still 0-0, and I mean, it's not an interesting game, I'm not going to lie, but hopefully we'll hope for the second half. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Neil. Yes, so still 0-0 there, but 7 shots to 1 for Aston Villa. They're really taking it to their opponents, who are only slightly, but there are a few places above them in the league, but bottom half clash between those two. Someone needs to tell the guys at Wolves v Bournemouth that the game is won by scoring goals, not by picking up yellow cards. Let's go back to Nicky Taliesin.
Yep, luckily I saw this one also, Tom. What happened was Patricio just gave a call clearly for Cody to leave the ball, for him to pick it up on the edge of the area. And Callum Wilson decided that he thought he could get there, but he clearly clattered Patricio on purpose as he'd already gathered the ball. It was a needless foul. It shows the kind of messiness of the game, really. Silly yellow cards, silly fouls happening all over the place. I'm a little bit worried for Traore in parts because he's taken a good kick in so far. And as you know, as we all know, he's prone to an injury. So I hope that someone has a word, because it's not good the way that they're kicking at him. By the end of this match, he might have as many fouls on him as Grealish, but we'll never know.
Well, we may well know if he can pick up a few more today. Who knows? Let's go now to Carrow Road, where Ben Feynman's watching Norwich v Everton. Ben, much of the same?
We've had a couple of attacking free kicks, all whipped in by Andre Duda. None of them lean to anything in particular. You called it an amuse boost, Tom. It's certainly more of a palate cleanser for me, because this is bloody dreadful.
I'm sorry to hear that, but remember, you are getting paid to be there. So still, again, just the one goal as we move towards half-time in each of our 4 matches this evening. So Manchester United leading Sheffield United 1-0, and then 0-0 Wolves v Bournemouth, Newcastle United v Aston Villa, and Norwich City against Everton. Let's go back to Old Trafford now and check in with Rhys Davis, where one of the players has taken a little bit of a knock. Has he, Rhys?
Yeah, it's a Sheffield United player. This time it is Lys Mousset, who has gone down. Stayed down a bit longer than Bruno, actually. And we saw Ollie McBurney getting ready on the bench. I don't know why he needs to warm up in this weather, but he did. I think Mousset is going to carry on. And indeed he does. Sheffield United pretty much back in this game now. They've had a lot of the possession since you've been here before. Rashford again dropping a bit tight to the midfield. We need that. They need that extra option up front. Ball comes in here actually by Bruno, and that's defended quite well by Sheffield United. But over the last 10 minutes, the possession stats have favoured Sheffield United. And if you're 1 second, got an attack for United here. It's Bruno Fernandes passes it out wide to Pogba. Here is Wan-Bissaka. Takes on Baldock. Here's Anthony Martial, and it's a goal. It's 2-0. Balls come in from Wan-Bissaka on the right. No VAR this time. And it's fallen to Martial's feet, who side foots it easily past the goalie. It is 2-0 to Man United, and it is well deserved.
Anthony Martial must be really enjoying playing at Old Trafford right now. That's his third goal in his last 2 games at Manchester United's home ground. So yes, the only 2 goals so far this evening have come for Manchester United. Invaluable, really, in their chase for that Champions League spot, potentially 4th place. But even 5th might be enough, pending Manchester City's appeal to the CAS. I think we've had another yellow card at Molineux, have we, Nikki? It's gone to Wolves.
Yes, Tom. Another yellow card to Wolves. I didn't see which player it was. Again, I've got to be honest. It's very hard to keep your concentration on a game like this, where they're just fouling the whole time. It's just a matter of whether they get a card for it or not. I'll just double check now. It is Ruben Neves that got the yellow card for a bad foul. But again, they're not showing much replays on these fouls. They're supposed to be bad, but it's just not much showing. There's 4 minutes gone up for injury time at the end of this half, which says it all, really, because they had a water break of about 4 minutes. So it's not an interesting game. Even the 4th official doesn't want it to go on for too much longer.
Thank you very much, Nikki. Let's check in with Neil Parker, who's watching Newcastle v Aston Villa, where I believe there's been a chance. Who's it gone to, Neil?
Thanks, Tom. The chance went to Newcastle. Matt Ritchie put a right stinger, and it stung the fingers of Nyland. So Newcastle are looking to finish off on a high. They've actually got a free kick on their right-hand side that they're about to cross in, but there's a bit of business happening in the box. VAR is actually going checking for a possible red card. Oh, no red card. That was the shortest VAR I have ever seen in my life. It's just a yellow card for the Aston Villa player who I think he caught Joe Linton in the face. Oh, no, it was Lascelles. Sorry, he caught Lascelles in the face. And he's just been booked for it. We've been waiting for this free kick for about 2 minutes. It's crossed in and went to the back post, cleared by Aston Villa for a Newcastle corner. Still 0-0. Newcastle finishing strongly. But I mean, yeah, it's just, isn't it?
It's just a game that's happening, isn't it? Yeah, just the 2 goals in the 4 games so far this afternoon. Half a goal per game. It's not really what you really tuned in for, but who knows what could happen in the second half. As I said earlier, 9 of the 14 games so far this season have been 0-0 at half-time. Hopefully a few goals will hit the back of the net in the second half, because goodness knows teams need to get on the score sheet if they're going to change their fortunes in these last few games of the season. Let's go now to Carrow Road, where Ben Feynman can give us a halftime report. That game has just gone to the interval. Ben?
Yeah, the players have just headed to the dressing room. Norwich actually coming quite into it. They had a couple of dangerous chances at the end of the half. First of all, Lucas Rook pulling off forcing Jordan Pickford into a good save. And then Ono Hernandez weaved his way into the box before his shot was eventually blocked. I'm certainly glad it's half-time. I'm sure the players and the managers are. We'll hope that we can get something else out in the second half. Maybe lots of changes.
Thank you very much. So, yes, that's the first game to go to the break. I believe Manchester United v Sheffield United may be nearing a half-time interval. So let's go back to Rhys Davis, who's there watching that Manchester United 2-0 lead. Rhys, can we get your half-time report, please?
Yeah, it is 2-0, and it is half-time here at Old Trafford. Fully deserved from Manchester United. We've got a free kick right at the end, taken by Sheffield Wednesday, intercepted by one of the defenders. Should really have been defended better by United, but it is another corner for Sheffield United. 1 second. I did say it had blown up, but actually we're carrying on. Here comes the corner. And that is defended well. It is the end of the first half. So yeah, United doing well, really. Lion's share of possession, fully deserved in their lead. They've had 7 goal attempts, of which 3 are on target, 2 of which being goal. Martial clinical with his finishing, and it's no more than they deserve. Rashford had 2 other chances early on in the first half. Should really have scored both, or at least got some shots on target. But it is 2-0, and it is the fair result at the moment.
Thank you very much, Reese. So half-time at Manchester United, where the only 2 goals of the evening have come so far. Let's go now to Molineux, get a half-time report from Nicky Taliesin. Nicky.
Hi, Tom. Yeah, it's just half-time now. As I've been saying through most of the game, it's a bit of a violent match, more than an entertaining match, really. It's getting a bit messy in areas. Traore's looking good again. He had a shot nearing the end of the half after beating a couple of players, but he was on the edge of the area, and it was a little bit more like pre-Nuno training. Traore, who didn't manage to get in, but apparently it's reported that Traore has been doing extra training before coming back, and has been said to have said that he is training to be faster than he ever was. And considering that if you look at just the FIFA stats alone, he's the fastest player, joint fastest player on there with 96 out of 100. I don't know how much faster a footballer can really get than that. But yeah, apparently he's been training, and it is showing he's the best player on the pitch by far. Haven't seen Jimenez, which has been a bit of a disappointment. And Bournemouth, there's been Brooks has been trying, and he's been energetic, but that's about it, really. Haven't seen Callum Wilson, haven't seen much from them at all.
Thank you very much, Nicky. So that's half-time at Molineux. We'll be back with them in about 15 minutes' time. And let's just get our final half-time report from Neil Parker, who's watching Newcastle versus Aston Villa, the 4th game. Neil, what's the half-time report, please?
The half-time report is that not much has happened. Villa started off better. Newcastle finished the half better, but the better chances have been from Villa. Just to clear up what happened in stoppage time, Lascelles came over to the referee holding his cheek and asked for a VAR check, which I didn't think they were allowed to do. There was a VAR check, and then the ref gave a yellow card to Douglas Luiz, meaning that Douglas Luiz did hit Lascelles, but apparently not hard enough for a red card. But it is a very quiet St. James's Park, both in terms of lack of people and lack of generally anything happening. Still 0-0, Tom. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Neil. So yeah, very quiet all around the grounds. Yeah, not much to report on. But Anthony Martial with now up to a baker's dozen of goals for Manchester United in the Premier League this season. Just 1 behind top scorer Marcus Rashford. In Manchester United 2, Sheffield United 0 so far in that game. Absolutely vital for Manchester United. That would push them up to 49 points. Just 2 behind Chelsea, but of course the Blues would have a game in hand, although that is against Manchester City tomorrow night. In the other game, so yes, 0-0 between Newcastle and Aston Villa. Villa had the better of the early play, but Newcastle just coming back into it, and then that yellow card for Douglas Luiz. He's going to have to be careful in the second half. 0-0 as well in the game between Norwich and Everton at Carrow Road, and also at Molineux between Wolverhampton Wanderers and AFC Bournemouth. We're going to take a quick halftime break now, and when we come back, we'll have the second halves for you. See you in a few minutes. Welcome back to this coverage of this Wednesday's Premier League action. 5 games today. Liverpool versus Crystal Palace later this evening. But the 4 games we've got right now, just the 2 goals in each of those. Well, not in each of those, across all 4 games. Anthony Martial scoring both for Manchester United. They lead 2-0 at home to Sheffield United. Anthony Martial now just 1 goal behind behind Marcus Rashford in Manchester United's top scorer stakes in the league this season. All 4 games are back underway, but it was Norwich versus Everton that got back underway first. So why not go back to Ben Feynman for a quick update on the latest there. Ben.
The game has sparked into life after 3 minutes of the second half. We've had, I think, 2 corners and a couple of chances. It's all going on. Gylfi Sigurdsson came on at half-time for Tom Davies as well. So Everton will certainly look to make most of their set pieces. Norwich already pushing pretty far forward into Everton's half. I've got a lot of hope here, but I'm hoping it's probably going to let me down. Yeah,
so Norwich struggling at the bottom of the Premier League table, still struggling to score a goal, in fact, still without Teemu Pukki. They haven't chosen to bring him on yet so far this game. But as Ben pointed out, Gylfi Sigurdsson coming on for Everton to replace Tom Davies. I believe there's been a couple of subs to begin the second half of Manchester United v Sheffield United. Reese, who's shaking things up there?
Yeah, it's Sheffield United that have rung the changes. 2 substitutes. Oliver McBurney is on for Lys Mousset, who did pick up an injury in the first half, unsure if that's related or not. And Berge is on for Oliver Norwood. So Sheffield United clearly seeing that they need to do something different in this second half. United have started the better of the 2 teams. And we've got a free kick here, which is going to be taken by Bruno Fernandes in about a few seconds. If you want to stay with me while Anthony Taylor sprays a white line 10 yards away from Bruno, who is about 35 yards outside the box. He's going to try and whip it in. Maguire's there in the box, looking for the header, which is pointless because a foul's been given for a shove by Maguire. And it's still 2-0. And back to you, Tom.
Thank you very much, Reese. So just the 45 minutes action for former Manchester United man Oliver Norwood. Ollie McBurney coming on for Sheffield United, his former side, and the club he supports, Swansea City, were victorious on the weekend, beating Middlesbrough 3-0 away from home. He'll have been pleased about that. Hopefully he can bring some of the joy he felt on the weekend into his performance and get Sheffield United back into their game against Manchester United. So that game with plenty of consequences for European action next season. Manchester United currently occupying the 5th place in the Premier League. Normally that would only be enough for Europa League action next season, but with Manchester City's pending appeal for over their ban from UEFA competition at the Court of Arbitration for Sport, it could see Manchester United qualify for the Champions League in 5th place. There is another team also gunning for that 5th place position who are in action right now, and that is Wolverhampton Wanderers. They're at home to AFC Bournemouth. About 3 minutes gone in that game where Nicky Taliesin is watching for us. Nicky.
Hi, Tom. It's already looking a bit more lively. In fact, Neves is just lining up a free kick now. And it's saved by the keeper. It's Wolves seem to have finally gone a bit wide and playing a bit more like they usually do. We've already had 2 crosses from Traore, which haven't quite come off, but he's getting down on the right-hand side. And then on the left-hand side, Johnny just got fouled by Stacey, which got that free kick for Ruben Neves. Wolves are looking like they're creating more space for themselves. They were a bit narrow in the first half, and they've started finally moving into that width, and it's already looking like Bournemouth are going to struggle with that a little bit.
Okay, so a bit more action there. As we said earlier, the 14 games played prior to today in the Premier League, 9 of them were 0-0 at halftime. With the 3 games we have here today finishing 0-0 at halftime, we're now up to 2/3 of the Premier League matches being 0-0 at the break. and that included Newcastle versus Aston Villa, where we're about 5 minutes in. Neil Parker's watching that for us. Neil, what's the latest?
Thanks, Tom. We've had a couple of chances, one for each team. Matt Ritchie came close right early on, a couple of minutes in, and a nice save by Nyland at his bottom right-hand corner. And then it went down the other end, and Mahmoud Trezeguet had a header from about 12 yards out, and he really put some welly into it, but he was too far out to actually make anything of it. There was no power on the cross. So Dubravka saved it very, very, very easily. So it's still 0-0, and still, yeah.
Still, yeah. So still no goals in those 3 games. Manchester United leading 2-0 at home to Sheffield United. Anthony Martial with those 2 goals. So let's check back in at the bottom of the Premier League table, where Norwich City are hosting Everton at Carrow Road. It's Ben Feynman. Ben, what's been going on since we last checked in with you?
Some Everton have had all the ball since you last come to me. They're really pushing Norwich quite hard without really creating a lot. Bernard did have a little weave through, which got put out by Tim Krul and then was cleared away to safety. But Everton really do seem to be pushing the issue now. Richarlison, who had quite a good game by all accounts against Liverpool, has been quite quiet. And we've got a corner now for Everton. Sorry, Seamus Coleman was just played in down the right-hand side, but it's defended well by the tracking back of Onel Hernandez. You can stay with me for the corner if you want, Tom, just to fill some time for this dry Wednesday evening we've got. So, yeah, I think it's going to be Luca Dean to take the corner on the right-hand side with his left foot. They're trudging over about as slow as the game's gone on, though, to be honest. So it'll take a while to take this corner. It is about to be whipped in by Luca Dean. Oh, there's a goal! What? As if by magic. It's Michael Keane who's headed it in at the back post. So the ball's come across from Luca Dean and it's been glanced in by Michael Keane. A goal for sonnet writers everywhere. The Everton fans on the Zoom chat are going absolutely mad. It's 1-0. Probably no more than they deserve, but ultimately the quality of this game has lacked, so I didn't think anyone really deserved to score. But Michael Keane took the only chance we've had of this second half so far. Hopefully that will get Norwich to open up a bit and create a few more chances. Excellent.
So the first goal away from Manchester in this afternoon's action. The corner taken by Luca Dean and nodded in by Michael Keane. So let's go back to Molineux now, where we've just had a little bit of action. Nicky Taliesin, tell us what's been going on between Wolves and Bournemouth.
Well, Wolves are attacking at the goal. They just had another shot at goal. They're looking a lot more lively now. They've clearly had a bit of a telling off at half time, and they look well up for it. Bournemouth barely had the ball. One substitution just had to happen. Billing went off for Dan Gosling. It looks like an injury from the first half. He was one of the ones who was in a bit of the wars with the fighting. Well, fighting's the wrong word, but battling. Let's call it battling in the first half, and that's caused him to have to go off with an injury. This is corner coming in. Now, Wolves I'd say they've done more in the last 10 minutes of this first half than they did in the whole. So of the second half than they did in the whole of the first half. 70% possession has just popped up on the screen for them in the last 5 minutes, which says everything, I think.
Thank you very much, Nicky. So yes, the Danish lad, just subbed off for Bournemouth, not exactly living up to his billing. Let's go back to Old Trafford and check in with Rhys Davis, who's watching Manchester United versus Sheffield United. Rhys.
Yeah, no player puns here at the moment, Tom. It's still 2-0. United's still on top. Wan-Bissaka's having a bit of a run down the right-hand side. A couple of crosses, none of which have been finding of a teammate. But United are playing a lot quicker in the middle. We saw against Spurs in the first half last week, they were rather slow off the mark. It does appear that Pogba has added an extra bit of pace to the middle. His interlinking play with Bruno Fernandes is a lot better for the United faithful. And they'll be pleased to see that partnership working, as it were. Nothing else to report from here. United with the lion's share of possession and the scoreline. 55 minutes gone, still 2-0.
Thank you very much, Reese. So yes, just the 2 goals still there, but it's 2 more goals than we've had in half of the games that we're watching this evening. So Manchester United, as I said, still holding all the cards in the chase for that final Champions League spot. Of course, yes, we keep saying it's a Champions League spot, even though it's only 5th place, because Manchester City, as things stand, are banned from European football for next season. But their appeal at the Court of Arbitration for Sport should be decided pretty soon. So 2-0 there. We've had just the 1 goal 10 minutes into the second half at Norwich, who are hosting Everton. That went to Michael Keane, again, another former Manchester United man, nodding past Norwich goalkeeper Tim Krul from a Lucadine corner. Lucadinha corner. Gosh, that's hard to say. And I haven't even been drinking. Let's go back to St James's Park and check in with Neil Parker, who's watching Newcastle v Aston Villa. Have you been drinking, Neil?
Absolutely not. So we've had a couple of points made. Newcastle have actually had 82% possession in the last 10 minutes. They're attacking now, and it was a poor cross. What a surprise. Just 2 little things noticed. They showed a picture of Neil Lennon commentating on the game, but he was actually commentating from above the protective perspex sheet. I'm not sure that's what the perspex sheet was designed for, but and also Jack Grealish is built a little bit like a rugby player. That is how interesting this game is. That's what I've noticed. It's still 0-0.
I believe you've been doing some research for us, Neil. Could you perhaps tell us what you've been doing some genealogical analysis into Jack Grealish? What can you tell us?
So thank you, Tom, for that. Apparently, Jack Grealish's mother's maiden name is Garrity, which refers to his Irish heritage, because obviously there was a big controversy about a year ago where Jack Grealish decided that he'd rather play for England than for Ireland, which you can imagine that the fans of Irish football took with their normal good grace. But yes, the up-and-coming star Jack Grealish, who just made an awful pass, and he's got stupid hair. But also, yeah, so apparently his mother's maiden name was Garrity. Who knew?
Not me. Hopefully, we're gonna have to fact check that, but make sure we're not giving away his bank details. Let's go back to Carrow Road now and check in with Ben Feynman, who's watching Norwich v Everton. Ben.
Yeah, no family trees here, Tom, to speak of, but we have had a few corners for Everton. They're really trying to push the issue, and Norwich need to be careful this doesn't get out of hand, although as much as I'd like it to see some more goals. Dominic Calvert-Lewin really sent Ben Godfrey for a hot dog and then fired a shot from about 25 yards out, which Tim Krul tipped over the bar. That was then followed up from the resulting corner by a good effort, and I forget who had it. I'm pretty sure it was Richarlison, who was then shot was blocked by one of the covering defenders. Everton now look in control. It can only be a matter of time before Teemu Pukki comes on, because Norwich really need to step up in this second half.
Yep, they'll really need to turn things around, although only just under half an hour to go there, plus stoppage time. Running out of time for Teemu Pukki to make an impact on that match.
Jack Grealish foul.
Let's go back to St James's Park. I think we've got an update from Neil Parker. What's the latest, Neil?
Well, quite spectacularly, we've had the 143rd Jack Grealish foul of the Premier League season. It's actually resulted in a yellow card as well. He did make the most of it, though. But, yeah, Lascelles gets his 6th yellow card of the season, but Jack Grealish gets his 143rd foul of the season as well. Thanks.
His shins are going to be in absolute bits come the end of the season, although with this 3-month break we've just had, he surely would have had some time to do reparations on those. Let's go back to Old Trafford now, where Manchester United lead Sheffield United 2-0. Or do they, Rhys Davis?
They do, Tom, unless you're very much ahead of my stream, which is live, of course. It is 2-0. United attacking quite a lot through the right-hand side. Marcus Rashford's been on the end of a few crosses, but not been able to convert them. Mason Greenwood also found himself inside the box, pulled the trigger, but stopped, and we have a goal. Apparently somewhere else. But it's not for me. I'll pass you back, Tom.
Yeah, I think maybe leave it to me to make those announcements, please, Rhys. You can stick to your game. But I believe that goal has come at Molineux between Wolves and Bournemouth. But who's it gone to? Nicky Taliesin.
Could it be anyone else? It was Wolves. Traore's been hugging the touchline, which is where he should have been most of the game, really. And he's put a brilliant ball in. And of course, who's on the end of it? No one else but Jimenez. They combined again. They've been combining all season. I believe that's their 10th goal they've scored as a combination this season. It was a great header of the back post. It's pretty much the story of most of Wolves' goals this season. Get it out on the wing, run at players, get it in the box, and Jimenez will put it in the back of the net for you. Great result. As Rhys was saying earlier, for my fantasy football team, that's going to be great because they've got both those players. But yes, good times. And it looks like Neto's about to be coming on as well. So if this is anything like their last game, Neto has just come on for Jota. And if Neto plays like he did last time and gets the next goal, it's going to be pretty much the same story.
See, when you asked who else could it have been who scored and then started talking about Adama Traore, I did assume it was him. But no, it's Raul Jimenez who scored his 4th goal in his last 5 appearances for Wolves. He's, of course, their top scorer so far this season. Important goal for them as well, as they are very much in the hunt for that 5th place position that Manchester United currently occupy. Both teams leading at the moment, but Manchester United's superior goal difference, the edge there. Manchester United today leading 2-0, which of course means they will extend their goal difference advantage over Wolves. They have a superior defensive record and an attacking record. So, yes, Manchester United in 5th place at the moment. Wolves in 6th, but both sides level on points, separated only by goal difference. Let's go back to Carrow Road now and check in with Ben Feynman, who's watching Norwich v Everton.
Yeah, Luca Dean's just picked himself up after a tangle with the Norwich midfielder Kenny McLean. A shot from Alexander Tettey was then deflected wide by Sigurdsson. They are checking for a serious foul play by VAR, but it's the follow-through of the shots. I can't see anything happen here. All it's doing is delaying a resulting corner. You stayed with me for the corner last time. I suggest you stay with me again. It will be Andre Duda to take the corner. He has whipped it in. And that is a terrible corner. Iwobi is cleared at the front post. No second goal here, Tom. It's still 1-0 to Everton.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ben. So, yeah, 1-0 to Everton there. Their season has pretty much petered out. They're, of course, 11 points clear of relegation, so not much chance they'll be going down this season. But equally, not much chance of them breaking into the European places. They are... 7 points distant, even of Tottenham Hotspur in 7th place, which would be the potentially the lowest position pending Manchester City's appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. Let's go back to St James's Park and check in with Neil Parker, who's watching Newcastle v Villa.
Yeah, we've had a substitution for Newcastle. Andy Carroll has just come on, and it's the first time I've seen him. He's got a beard reminiscent of an early Jeff from Biker Grove, which is quite appropriate for the area that he currently applies his trade. If you get a chance to see that, have a look at it. But Newcastle are really running it, but we've just hit the second drinks break now. And with the hot weather, I think they need it today. But it's still 0-0, Tom.
Thank you very much, Neil. So we've just had teams in for Liverpool versus Crystal Palace in the evening game. Alisson, as per usual, starts in goal for the league leaders. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Joe Gomez, Virgil van Dijk, and Andy Robertson make up the back four. Jordan Henderson, Fabinho, and Jorginho Wijnaldum in midfield, and the same old front three of Mohamed Salah, Roberto Firmino, and Sadio Mane up front. For Crystal Palace, Wayne Hennessy, Wales's Wayne Hennessy starts in goal. Ward, Cahill, Sacco, and Patrick van Aanholt make up the back four. McCarthy sitting in a defensive midfield role behind a midfield four of Andros Townsend, James MacArthur, Kouyaté, and Wilfried Zaha. And then up front is Ayew. So still waiting to hear which of those players are changes from their previous game. But there has been a change coming back to the games that are in effect now. There's been another change in the game between Manchester United and Sheffield United. Let's go back to Rhys Davis, who's watching that. Rhys, who's the substitution for?
Yeah, another sub for Sheffield United. David McGoldrick has come off. He's been replaced by Richairo Zivkovic. And Sheffield United obviously trying to change things up here because as it stands, they don't look like getting back into the game. Pogba's running the midfield, just done a slinky move in the middle, nutmegged two players before. Well, I guess Bruno got in the way. But yeah, Pogba's dropping a lot deeper in this role. Looks quite effective. Hasn't managed to break the final line yet. But there is almost half an hour left of the game, so we'll see how that goes. And it's still 2-0, but United still on top.
I think closer to just under 25 minutes left in that one. So two more substitutes available for Sheffield United. Manchester United yet to make a change. They have all five still in the bank. So yes, that rule change coming into effect for this restarted Premier League season and across world football. Teams playing through the summer, players more likely to get tired. They've decided to allow 5 substitutes in 3 separate windows during matches, although that doesn't extend to the halftime break. Any changes made at halftime don't count towards those 3 windows. Another team that's been taking advantage of their available substitutes is AFC Bournemouth, who've made 3 changes. Nicky, who's come on for Bournemouth?
Well, Tom, as you say, they're making the most of it. I actually love this 5 substitutes thing. I think it makes the game far more interesting and we see more players. Bournemouth, Lamar, Brooks and Stanislas have gone off. Stanislas was actually in a pretty good game. Brooks was lively, but I think he was looking a bit tired now. And on comes Solanke, Wilson and Danjuma. I haven't seen Danjuma much this season, but Wilson and Solanke, obviously.
Goal!
Well, I was hoping I could just make a seamless transition to the game between Newcastle and Aston Villa. There's been a substitution there, but more importantly, there's been a goal. Who's it gone to? Neil Parker.
Thanks, Tom. The goal's just gone to the new sub, Dwight Gale. He's literally been on the field 30 seconds. There's a throw-in from the right, which was headed on, was passed on by Andy Carroll. And, I mean, Dwight Gale is literally not picked up. He's got so much space, and he just edges it through. I don't know what Aston Villa were doing. Maybe that's why they're 19th in the league. But Dwight Gale scores, and it makes it Newcastle 1, Aston Villa 0.
So yeah, Dwight Gale with his first goal of the season for Newcastle United. He hasn't played much, of course, but making an impact off the bench at the most important time. Albeit Newcastle's season, again, like Everton, not much to play for anymore except their pride. Hopefully they can move up the table as a result of that goal for Dwight Gale. So we've now had a goal in each of our games. So Going into halftime, it was 12 out of the 18 games played so far that had been 0-0 at halftime. All of our games now have at least one goal. Let's go to Carrow Road now and check in with Ben Feynman, where I believe there's been a significant substitution. Ben.
There has, Tom. They've made two changes. They brought on the firepower of Norwich in search for this extra goal. Emi Buendia coming on for Lucas Rupp, and the main man, Teemu Pukki, has come on for Andre Duda. No real impact as of yet. They've had one set piece, but again, that was poorly delivered. Hopefully, Buendia can really start to make the most of them now. I've actually got word that the Michael Keane goal, which put Everton 1-0 up, was his fifth Premier League goal, and he has scored them in 5 consecutive years. So hopefully he won't have to wait till 2021 for his next one, but I wouldn't hold that much hope for the former Manchester United defender.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Ben. So Teemu Pukki coming on for Norwich City. He hasn't scored, though, in his last 6 games for Norwich, the last 2 being penalties in consecutive games late in January. But he hasn't scored from open play back since December, 12 games ago, when he netted in the 1-1 draw with high-flying Leicester City. Really important goal for Norwich City there. So still 1-0 to the visitors in that game. The only game, in fact, where the visitors are leading. We have Manchester United leading 2-0 at home to Sheffield United. Wolverhampton Wanderers leading 1-0 at home to Bournemouth. Newcastle at home to Villa. Dwight Gale scoring with what may well have been his first touch of the game, coming on just 30 seconds earlier. And Michael Keane scoring from a Luca Dean corner for Everton against Norwich. I believe there's been a yellow card in the game between Manchester United and Sheffield United. So let's check in with Rhys Davis.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, it's gone to Luke Shaw, and it's one of those where he gets beaten by the defender and takes one for the team, chopping down. And Anthony Taylor doesn't hesitate to show the yellow card. Greenwood's just had a smashed shot from outside the box. Neat 1-2 with Bruno Fernandes, but he goes for pace rather than direction, and it flies far wide right. Sheffield United got a corner at the moment, just about to take that. Whipped in once again. Looks like it's a bit too heavy, and ball goes out for a goal kick. It's still 2-0, and still United very much on top.
Thank you very much, Rhys. So as I said, 2-0 to Manchester United there, 1-0 to Wolves in their game against Bournemouth. Newcastle leading Aston Villa 1-0, as do Everton in their away game against Norwich. We're just going to take a quick break, and we'll come back to you in a couple of minutes for the closing stages of these 4 games.
I've had my ups and downs, my fair share of bumpy roads and heavy winds. That's what made me what I am today. Now I stand here before you. What you see is a body crafted to perfection, a pair of legs engineered to defy the laws of physics, and a mindset to master the most epic of splits.
Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows? Only time. And who can say if your love grows as your heart shows? Only time. We
Thank you, and welcome back to this coverage of the Premier League here with us on YouTube. So not much to report. Although, oh no, we
Here
have
we
a
go!
goal update. Goal update at Manchester United. Rhys Davis, what's the latest there?
It's 3-0. And guess who it is? It's that man again. It's Martial. A hat-trick for Martial, who I'm gonna tell you a little secret that Neil decided to post a little meme about Martial earlier on today in the group chat. How he was pretty rubbish and that he was one of the worst United players. Well, sorry, Neil. It's 3-0 Martial, and he scored all the goals. It's a great 1-2. Martial passes it to Rashford just outside the area. Rashford dinks it in between defenders. Martial, one touch. Keeper comes out, dinks it over him. It's a fantastic finish. There's no more than Martial and United deserve in this second half. It is 3-0, and it is game over.
Well, were it not for the fact that all the games at the moment are being played behind closed doors thanks to the coronavirus and COVID-19, I'm sure Old Trafford would be absolutely rocking. Anthony Martial with his first ever Manchester United hat-trick. In fact, his first senior hat-trick. The last time he scored one was for Monaco B at home to Marignan in November 2013. So Anthony Martial, his first senior hat-trick. He started the game 3 goals behind Marcus Rashford in Manchester United's top scoring stakes this season. That's him put level. So Manchester United leading 3-0 in a very, very important game in the race for the final Champions League spot.
Jack Grealish
Sheffield.
foul.
Let's... I can't help but laugh whenever he tells us about those, but let's go back to St. James's Park, check in with Neil Parker and hear about yet another foul on Jack Grealish.
Yeah, it's foul number 144 for the season. I mean, you've got to think that Dean Smith has got a little bit of a point, seeing as though he is being kicked a little bit. Also, Davis for Aston Villa, who had just come on, missed an absolute sitter. He was free at the back post and should have really done something with it. But he didn't. He just spooned the ball wide. But yeah, foul number 144. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Let's check in at Molineux now, where it's still 1-0 between Wolves and Bournemouth. But we cut Nicky off while he was telling us about some changes before, but there's been another one. Nicky, what's the latest?
Yeah, so Bournemouth made the 3 changes earlier on, and Wolves have actually made a change as well. Now Traore's gone off for Dendoncker. He's been running all game. It's probably a matter of resting him ready for the next game. A little fact as well, I mentioned earlier that Adama Traore and Raul Jimenez have now combined for 10 Premier League goals this season. That's the most of any Premier League duo this season, and it's just the 7th different partnership to manage it, at least 10 in a single campaign. So they're the most prolific pairing for the Premier League this season. It's gone a little bit quiet since the Traore substitution, but there is a corner kick at the moment for Wolves, and they are always dangerous with set plays. So it's up to you. You can stay with me for this corner if you'd like.
Yeah, let's stay with you. It does require you actually say something, though.
Yeah, it's off. It's a cross in. It was a shot. Keeper saved down low, though. Wolves aren't going with this new tradition that a lot of teams seem to do with short corners. They cross it in, old-fashioned style. Bournemouth really need to start doing better marking in the area, because the Jimenez goal, he was the only player in the box. 3 players left him have so much space for the header, and they almost caused the same problem there for a corner. If they keep doing this, there's going to be more goals for Wolves.
Thank you very much, Nicky. I apologise for that. That was uncalled for on my part. But yeah, so still 1-0 between Wolves and Bournemouth. Let's go back to Carrow Road and check in with Ben Feynman, who's watching Norwich versus Everton.
Yes, we've had some good link-up play recently between the 2 subs that come on, Emi Buendia and Pukki. Pukki playing in Buendia around in the keeper, but the angle was just too tight. He couldn't quite feed it back into the middle of the box. There's since been a couple more changes after the impact that those first 2 made. Adam Eder has come on for Norwich, as well as Mario Vrancic And Moise Kean has come on for Everton, and Kean, after about 30 seconds, completely wiped out Mario Vrancic and got himself added. So if that's anything to go by, he'll be lucky to stay on for another minute. Norwich trying to push home the issue now, with Everton looking quite dangerous on the break with that front two of Kean and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Richardson's gone off after a quiet day. But we'll see how these last 8 minutes go.
Thank you very much, Ben. Yeah, Moise Kean, the first ever player born in the 2000s to appear in the UEFA Champions League. Just a little tidbit for you there. But still 1 goal in that game between Norwich and Everton. Michael Keane, not Moise Kean, Michael Keane. 2 M Keanes involved in this game. Michael Keane, the one scoring the goal. It's 1-0 between Newcastle and Aston Villa. Dwight Gale scoring barely 30 seconds after coming on in that one. 1-0 Wolves v Bournemouth. Their top scorer, Raul Jimenez, assisted by Adama Traore, who's now gone off in that one. And Anthony Martial, or Marthreal, as Manchester United's Twitter account would have had us believe. He's... well, I think he's come off. Has he, Rhys Davis? Let's go to you.
Absolute admin nightmare here, Tom. We've had a quintuple substitute from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I'm trying to work out who on earth has just come off. Okay, here we go. Pogba's off, Rashford's off, Greenwood's off, Martial's off, and Bruno Fernandes is off. Igalo's on, Mata's on, McTominay's on, Pereira's on, and someone else is on. Give me a second. Daniel James,
I believe. Yeah,
Danny James is on. So yeah, that's the first quintuple substitution I've seen for a single team at least. And yeah, United clearly in control of this game, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with the opportunity to put these guys on to finish the game off. Sheffield United been pretty poor since the half. Nothing really coming of any chances that they've had in the game. Looks like it's game over for them. They've given up, and we'll see how United do with almost a new half team. Still 3-0.
So yeah, that game pretty much put to bed. Not much to play for Sheffield United. They know the game's gone. So Ole Solskjaer taking the opportunity to make 5 substitutes all in one go. The hat-trick hero, Anthony Martial, coming off for Odion Igalo. Scott McTominay coming on as well, just a day after signing a new 5-year contract with Manchester United. They'll keep him with the club until June 2025. Let's go back to... there's a bit of action coming at St. James's Park. Let's go back to Neil Parker for the latest. Neil.
Yeah, we've currently got an Aston Villa corner, which is put in by Hurahan. And, it's in! Oh, hello! El Mohammadi just scores, and he put it under Dubravka. It just looked like the littlest of touch. Aston Villa just scored their equaliser. And to be honest, they don't really deserve it. They haven't really done that much. Hurahan chucks it in. Oh, it's a header. And he's just a glancing header by El Mohammadi. And he just beats his marker, lost completely. Dubravka should have saved that. Oh, it's poor play by Dubravka. But yeah, it's Aston Villa 1, Newcastle 1. And it kind of sums up this game where it's just eh.
Well, so yeah, Aston Villa having the lion's share of the play early in the game, but Newcastle did take the lead. But yes, Aston Villa with just over 5 minutes left to play, plus stoppage time, equalising through El Mohammadi. So that's the only other game besides Manchester United's 3-0 lead over Sheffield United that is currently more than 1 goal. Let's go back to Molineux now and check in with Nikki Taliesin, who's watching Wolves v Bournemouth. Nikki.
Hi, Tom. You just caught me at a good time. Wolves are just about to have a free kick. Martinho's putting the ball in the back post, just a little bit too far over the top. I think it just might have touched a Bournemouth player. Nope, apparently not. It's going to be a goal kick. Wolves do seem to be having the the better part of the game still. What's going on here? It might still be a corner, actually. Nope, they has given a corner. I do apologise. He was pointing towards the goal line, not towards the corner, but it has been given as a corner. So it was a glance off a Bournemouth defender. I would think Martinez is probably going to take this again. It turns out to be a throw-in. That's a throw-in, actually. Wow, he's going really well here. And Wolves are looking lively at the moment, but they look kind of content to get the 1-0 win as well. Bournemouth, they just don't really look like they've got the players to be able to stay up, if I'm honest. I think they're going to be heading into a bit of a fight, and I wouldn't be shocked to see them be one of the teams relegated. They don't look like they've got the squad any of the other teams have got to be able to handle this. Maybe apart from Burnley, depending on how their contract situations go. Which is obviously one of the problems that Bournemouth have had. Ryan Fraser is he's not signed his new contract, which has been a bit of a dubious situation for Bournemouth and it's caused a bit of argument. So they're not playing him, and they've not agreed anything there. So yep, the game's died out a little bit now. To be honest with you, I think 1-0 is probably going to be the final score.
Yep, so just 5 minutes left to play in that one. Yeah, 1-0 probably looking like the final score. Bournemouth now having used all 5 of their substitutions. So no more for them. Wolves still have 3 in the bank, but with their 1-0 lead, do they really need to make any changes other than to rest players for their upcoming matches? They will be facing Aston Villa in a West Midlands derby on Saturday. Heading to Villa Park for that one. That's live on BT Sport. In the other matches, so it's still 1-0 to Everton against Norwich with not long to go in that one. Let's go to Ben Feynman and see what the latest is in that one as it winds to a close. Ben.
Yep, we've had changes involved with left back. So in Norwich, we've decided that Jamal Lewis is going to go off and they're going to throw on Todd Cantwell to try desperately to get this equaliser. Leave him without a recognised left back on the pitch. Everton decided to double up. So they brought on Leighton Baines to go with Luca Dean to really solidify that left-hand side. And Adam Eda's just shot wide for a corner. Norwich still trying to push home for this equaliser, just about to go into injury time. They've just announced over the tannoy that Michael Keane has been awarded man of the match. Probably just due to the fact he's produced the only bit of quality that we've seen. The ball's whipped in for Norwich corner. And it's gone for another corner. Emi Buendia will whip it in again. We've got 6 minutes of added time. I'm not sure where the 6 minutes have come from. Clearly, people have been taking into account the water breaks that we've had. Buendia's whipped it in. And Moise Keane should clear this, but he's trying to take on the whole team. He's giving it away. It's Adam Eda on the edge of the pitch. Oh, and Moise Keane's going to put it. This is a great commentary. I'm only here for punditry, not commentary, but Keane's leading the breakaway now, and he's squaring up Max Aarons, driving into the area. Oh, he's been fouled from behind by Todd Cantwell on the edge of the box. It will be a free kick to Everton, but there'll be no rush to take it. So come back to me, Tom.
Thank you very much, Ben. Yes, we'll come back to you very shortly to see what the result of that free kick is. Let's check in with Neil Parker, who's at St James's Park watching Newcastle versus Aston Villa. Neil, what's the latest there?
Thanks, Tom. It seems like Aston Villa are the ones pushing for the win, which you sort of would expect with the perilous situation that they're in. Jack Grealish has just picked up the ball right up at the Aston Villa box, and he's just pushing forward. He's driving forward here. Aston Villa have had a couple of corners, and they're making a few inroads, but nothing really too dramatic just yet. So it's still 1-1. We've got a couple more minutes to play. Villa put the ball into the box, and Newcastle clear it. Oh no, Villa have picked it back up at the edge of Newcastle's box. Grealish has the ball, and he passes it out to a Newcastle player. Now, still 1-1. Thanks, Tom.
I was really hoping you were going to say Grealish had been fouled there. Manchester United leading 3-0 at home to Sheffield United. Really important game in the chase for European football next season. Even though they made those 5 substitutions just a few minutes ago, they will be hoping to score another one, I'm sure it would be the first time they've scored 4 in a game since they beat Norwich 4-0 on the 11th of January. Marcus Rashford scoring twice that day. Anthony Martial and Mason Greenwood also on the score sheet. Let's go back to Rhys Davis, though, and see if they've come any closer to scoring a 4th today. Rhys Davis.
Yeah, so Igalo should have put United up to that 4-goal target you mentioned. The ball came in from Luke Shaw down the left. Good bit of work from him. Great ball in, whipped into Igalo's feet. Decent first touch, but the second touch has really let him down. He probably should have hit it first time. Takes it round keeper Moore, but doesn't make anything of that chance. Just had some stats that Pogba has created 4 key chances today, and Rashford 3. So it is good from a United perspective, I'm sure, to see those back in with the key passes. Sheffield United, of course, conceding 3 goals again to United, having drawn 3-3 against Man United earlier this season. They haven't shipped 3 goals in consecutive games since I think it was January 2016 in League One under Nigel Adkins. They'll do well to keep it to 3 at the moment. 3 added minutes of time coming up on the clock here. It's still 3-0.
Thank you very much, Rhys Davis. So all 4 games now moving into injury time. We've had about 4 minutes of injury time, but I haven't seen how much is due to be played there at Carrow Road, where Ben Feynman's watching. But that game looking like it's going to be a 1-0 win for Everton. Oh, yes, yeah, he did say it was 6 minutes of injury time. So we're almost through to the end there. We've had a booking in the game between Newcastle and Aston Villa, I believe. Let's go back to Neil Parker. Neil?
I don't mean to be a stereotype, but have we?
I believe so. Yeah, it was Courtney House for Aston Villa. Got one earlier. Maybe you told me about that in the previous update.
Yeah, I missed that. Sorry, yeah, it was Courtney House. He got booked.
He got booked. Great. Thank you very much, Neil. We'll come back to the studio then, and let's go back to Molineux, where there's been a couple of substitutions and a yellow card for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Nicky Taliesin.
Yes, a couple of substitutions. Morgan Gibbs-White has come on for Matinho, so a local lad. It's great to see him get a few minutes, to be honest with you. And then Daniel Podence, who's a January signing from Olympiacos, has come on for Jimenez. So the commentators are just saying there's the Wolves have got a deeper bench than you actually realise, because they just play the same 11 most of the time consistently. You don't realise how good some of the players are, but their recruitment is second to none, really. There was a moment not so long ago, Ramsdale, the keeper for Bournemouth, had a bit of a mare and kicked it out whilst he was outside of his own area, and it landed on Dendoncker, who had an open goal to shoot for from almost the halfway line and pretty much scuffed it. I think most of the skillful players that would have been able to pull it off had gone off with Matinho going off there, and it hadn't landed to Neves. So, Wolves, they're happy with this 1-0. And as I say, Bournemouth, even though Bournemouth are currently attacking, I can't see them mounting a goal. To be honest, they just haven't got the ability on the pitch right now.
Okay, thank you very much, Nicky. So, yeah, that one looks like it's petering out. It will be 1-0 to Wolverhampton Wanderers. João Moutinho coming off after getting a yellow card just earlier in the game, and Raul Jimenez, his work was done on the hour mark when he finished after the assist from Adama Traore to give them that 1 goal. Morgan Gibbs-White coming on for João Moutinho. Really good top prospect. And I only know that because of Football Manager. He's been absolutely fantastic for me in my Manchester United side as a rotation guy. Let's go back to Old Trafford, where Manchester United are playing Sheffield United. Rhys Davis, has that game finished? I believe it has.
Yeah, we are finished here at Old Trafford. United move within 2 points of Chelsea, who are in 4th, extending the gap to 5 points over Sheffield United, who linger in 8th place. It was a story of Martial, man of the match, hat-trick, providing us with all the goals here at Old Trafford. Fully deserved from United, over 2/3 of the possession. Sheffield United only really came into it at the beginning of the game, of the second half, sorry. United with 6 shots on target, 5 off, and 10 corners. They controlled the game in the midfield with Pogba, who linked up well with Bruno. It'll be exciting to see those two combine later on in the season. So a good step forward for Man United, edging towards Chelsea, looking for that 4th spot, which is, of course, Champions League. Good game to watch, very quick-paced, and it'll be a good one for United fans to watch highlights of later on. 3-0, Tom. Thanks very much. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much, Reece. So, yeah, Manchester United coming out on top in that, very much a 6-pointer over Sheffield United, puts their goal difference up as important as anything, up to plus 17, the best of the teams outside the top 3, moving ahead of Chelsea. Just 2 points behind Chelsea, but Chelsea do have that game in hand. They play Manchester City in the evening kickoff tomorrow. Let's get a full-time update from Molineux, where Nicky Taliesin's been watching Wolves v Bournemouth. Nicky.
Hi, Tom. It was almost an exciting moment at the end of the match. Neto actually picked up the ball in his own area, started running, got through the whole pitch, beat about 5 Bournemouth players, was through on goal, and then dragged it wide with his left foot, which is a really gutting moment for him because he looked like he was going to come on and score another wonder goal for Wolves. He's another dangerous player in that Wolves squad that's just full of talent, really. And Nuno's got them playing just such a wonderful team. Like, as I said at the beginning of the game, the first half of the game, there wasn't really a match. But Wolves, their heads never dropped. They kept playing until they started getting back into their better positions. They stopped getting into the fighting battle with Bournemouth, and that's when their quality showed through. So they deserved their win. I'm worried for Bournemouth. I'm genuinely worried whether they're going to be able to get out of this. They've missed a glorious opportunity here to try to catch up with West Ham already having played. I can't see them getting out of this. I think they're the second guaranteed team for me. They've got less quality in their team, less quality in their squad, and they just didn't look like they were going to score. Whenever they were in the opposition's half, they just didn't. They never looked like they were going to score, and that's a real worry, especially with players like Callum Wilson just not showing what they can do anymore. I don't know why. And so 1-0 was a fair result.
Thank you very much, Nicky. So 1-0 between Wolves and Bournemouth in that game. Let's go now to Neil Parker, who was watching Newcastle versus Aston Villa. Let's get a full-time update from St James's Park. Neil.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, it's finished 1-1, and actually Villa, they've smashed and grabbed. They've ended up with a point which actually has drawn them level with West Ham and Bournemouth at the bottom of the table. So now it's only goal difference that separates 17th, 18th, and 19th, with those 3 clubs only being a point behind Watford, who still need to play 1 game. They still have 1 game in hand. But it's all very, very close at the bottom now. Newcastle had the run of most of the play. Villa started off very well, but Newcastle came back into it, and they went 1-0 up with a Dwight Gale, great strike by Dwight Gale just after he'd come on. And then in the 83rd minute, El Mohammadi scored for Aston Villa from a corner to the equaliser. And it was actually at the end of the game, Aston Villa were looking like the team who were more likely to score. Hourihane had a really, really, really good placed attacking free kick, which he absolutely wasted, and it was scandalous. But yeah, it's finished 1-1. Aston Villa will be happy with a point. Newcastle probably couldn't care less. But yeah, it's made it very interesting at the bottom, Tom. Newcastle 1, Aston Villa 1.
Thank you very much, Neil. So the point there for Aston Villa, their 2nd point in their last 7 games. Not necessarily going to be enough to get them out of the relegation zone, but you never know. Every point matters at that end of the table. Norwich City, though, they are still rooted to the foot of the table. Ben Feynman's been watching that game for us. Ben, tell us what happened there.
Yeah, Tom, two teams going in opposite directions, and you could really tell. It was a dull first half, not a lot going on. But half-time, Ancelotti showed experience, made a change to free up some of his midfield to allow them to create more, and it really showed. Michael Keane putting away a header around the 60-minute mark from a set piece taken by Luca Dean. And then Everton were really just too much for Norwich. They saw out the second half with some good hold-up play, in particular from Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who looks to be going from strength to strength. Everton up to 10th. Arsenal now down into the bottom half of the table, which always pleases me. Norwich also seem to be down and out of the league themselves, really struggling in this relegation battle. Maybe we'll see if they can come back up playing their expansive football in the Championship next year, I think.
Thank you very much, Ben. So yes, that's your lot from the 4 matches we've had this afternoon. So Manchester United with a very, very important 3-0 win over Sheffield United. Anthony Martial scoring 2 goals in the first half, the only 2 goals that we saw in the first half of any of our 4 games that kicked off at 6 o'clock. He added a third, his first ever Manchester United hat-trick, his first hat-trick in 7 years in all top-level football. And in fact, Manchester United's first hat-trick since the retirement of Sir Alex Ferguson at the end of the 2012-13 season. In another game that has implications for European football next season, Wolverhampton Wanderers, who's like Manchester United, still involved in the UEFA Europa League this season. They are 1-0 victors at home to Bournemouth. Top scorer Raul Jimenez scoring on the hour mark, assisted by Adama Traore, who's come back into the team today. Newcastle United, as Neil reported, Dwight Gale came on in the 67th minute and was immediately involved, netting from an assist by Andy Carroll, only for Al Mohammadi to get the equaliser in the last 10 minutes for Aston Villa to seal a 1-1 draw. And finally, Everton taking the 1-0 victory away at Carrow Road, facing Norwich City. So those were the 4 games that kicked off at 6. Just coming up in just under 15 minutes, Liverpool play host to Crystal Palace, where victory would the Premier League title is all but sealed already, but yet another nail in the Manchester City coffin for Liverpool to win their first Premier League title in 30 years. So that's the only fixture remaining this evening. Tomorrow we'll see Burnley play host to Watford at Turf Moor. Southampton host Arsenal. Arsenal, who have now slipped into the bottom half, they'll be looking to get back into the top half with victory at St. Mary's. But the big game tomorrow evening, Manchester City at Chelsea. City hoping to prevent Liverpool from taking the Premier League title for yet another week. But Chelsea needing the victory to secure their place in the Champions League for next season. Manchester United really knocking on the door with their 3-0 victory this evening. So that's your lot for today's action with us. We're just coming to the end of our broadcast, but thank you very much for joining us. We will see you, next time we stream. Who knows when that will be, but see you soon. Thank you for joining us. Bye.